Hey, friends, welcome. So glad to be here tonight. And as you can see, I'm here with my partner in crime, Dave Dowling. Hey, Dave.
Hi, Lisa. How you doing tonight?
I am good. And we're finally getting a little warm here in southeastern Virginia. I actually have shorts on for the first time almost for this year.
Yeah, it's still been getting down in the 50s every night, so it's not warmed up yet.
Yeah, so being a flower farmer, if you're not already flexible, farming will teach you to be
To be flexible.
flexible or you won't survive. You
Yes,
won't survive very long, right?
because the weather's going to be different every week, whether no
It's
matter what you
true.
expect.
You can't really count on it. So we wanted to discuss a little bit, pretty much probably one of the most common comments and concerns and questions that we get about all of our courses, actually. And the question is, do I have time to take this course or any
Yeah,
course for that matter? We're all busy people. And in fact, the busiest people are the best people, in my opinion, for starting
yeah,
businesses and particularly for being flower farmers because the doers do, right?
yeah,
Dave, even Dave and I don't have children, but we still are heavily involved with our families, have
yeah,
great family
yeah.
responsibilities, and commitments, right, Dave? I mean, we all face those things. I don't know what people think. We all think we have something that nobody else
Right.
faces, right?
It might not be the exact same thing, but everybody has the same type of challenges: time constraints, family, whatever it is. Everyone else has something similar.
And, especially when it comes to family, there's so much flexibility and surprises. And that was something that I definitely struggled with back when I first started my business is like, I basically put a no trespassing sign on my driveway to my family on harvest days. I
Right.
didn't, but that was the words. And so I totally get that. And then, Dave, I don't know about you, I can't actually remember. A lot of people are still working full-time jobs, and
Yeah,
this is like their side hustle or they're just trying to get started. Didn't you do that too?
I did. When I first started, I was actually working at a garden center. I worked there 6 days a week, is what you do in a garden center in the spring.
Yeah.
And I Wednesdays was my day off, and I was able to get into a Wednesday farmers market. So I started growing cut flowers and selling on Wednesday, and then I got to a farmers market on a Sunday morning. I'm thinking, I work weekends at a garden center, but I was the one that made the schedule, so I scheduled myself to come in Sundays at 2,
There you go.
and no one questioned it. So I did a market, went straight from the market to work, and I did that for a couple of years until I finally quit. Although the owner didn't want me to quit because I stayed again for about another season part time, just because she didn't want me to leave completely. And then I made the full break after about 3 years.
So I think it's very dependent on what your situation is. It's not very common for people to say, "Okay, I'm quitting my full-time job and starting flower farming tomorrow." I did the very same thing. I did it in evenings. I was working at my husband's business after I left the vet, and it was tough going. It makes you figure out what is it I want to do, right?
Right.
I was selling to florists, so I at least had that little bit of flexibility. But we all have commitments, and jobs will help you kind of figure out. I can't tell you how many students that we have of people that are my age. I'm 62. Dave and I are the same age, aren't we?
I'm a little older. I'm 63,
Okay. All right.
maybe 6 months
Well,
older.
there is so many people embarking on creating these small niche flower farming businesses as they reach retirement
Right.
age. So what we find is that like 2 years before they're retiring, it's like, all right, I want to get my feet in and get
Get the
stuff
business
going,
set up.
right?
Get it set up so
Yeah.
when they finally do totally retire, they're already ready to go on the ground with their feet running full steam ahead.
It's true. And so time efficiency is really the key. And that's actually in my course is about we might think we're efficient in time, but I have some exercises that you go through. Um, and my phone just started recording everything I was saying. Sorry, I had to turn. I thought I was silencing it, but in fact,
um,
it was just eavesdropping on our wonderful conversation.
Recording it, right.
Um, so that is something that I address in the class because for me as a business owner, your time is the most
Right.
valuable thing.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
totally understand people having that concern, right?
Yeah.
So We actually created these courses with that in mind. They are really designed for with busy people because we know that busy people are the people that start businesses,
Right.
right? And
Yep.
so the thing that we have really that's really pretty awesome about the classes, which I think if you've never taken an online course, you don't really understand how it works. So I'll say first that it's self-paced. It's
Right.
self-paced online learning. You can start anytime, you can stop anytime, and you get immediate and lifetime unlimited access. So tell us what that means, Dave.
Yeah, it means in other words, if with my class, I talk about cut flowers and bulbs, perennials, and woodies. You might not be ready to plant woodies or any shrubs yet. You can skip that whole section and wait till 2 years from now when you're ready to start planting the nine bark and the winterberry holly, and then go in and watch it and learn about those crops. You don't have to go through the whole class all at once. Or you can do it now and start just two woodies now, just maybe curly willow and pussy willow, which is the easiest ones to grow. And then maybe in 5 years, you want to go into the lilac and other different things. And then those sessions are right there to go and look at, listen to, and learn from.
Yeah, and I think that, so let me just say very quickly the way that online courses work, if you've never taken one, and I was so new to this just 5 years ago, when you purchase a course from us, you literally make your own password and log in, right? You log in and you go to your online library, and in that library are your courses, and your courses are made up of many videos, tons of videos, and then there's handouts and there's all kinds of things in there. But you can go in and move around and jump ahead, and like Dave was just talking about. And Dave, you made a great point when we were talking earlier this week about how the course actually tracks what
Where
you
you've been.
where you've been, right?
Right. So notice if you were in there and watching my sessions on peonies and you only watched half of it, you log back in, it's going to start back at the video at the same spot. And the other really important thing to know is the videos, you don't always have to watch them. You can listen to them while you're driving, listen to them while you're sowing seeds. You don't have to be
Yes.
looking at the screen the whole time. Occasionally, you need to look at them, showing a picture or talking about something you should look at. But a lot of times, it's just information, you need to hear it. And like most people, if you hear it more than once, it sinks in better. So it's kind of thing, listen on the way to grandma's house and listen to the same class on the way back to make sure it all sinks in.
And I was just trying to think, where was I talking about that earlier? I listen I mean, there's something else super important. It's like I read and listen to the same few super great resources over and over again.
Mhm.
I mean, it doesn't really matter to me if I read 25 books. There's 5 books in there that really taught me a lot.
Yep.
And so guess what? I read them over and over. You know what I reread last year? And you know what I just got in the mail today that I'm getting ready to reread? Last year, I reread The Flower Farmer by Lynn Basinski.
Great book.
I mean, it's just powerful how much stuff you either forget, don't take in, or didn't
Right.
apply to you then.
Right. Didn't apply to you. You've now grown a different crop or growing
Yep.
a different area. Some people move their farm and it's a different zone, different kind of soil, different kind of sun.
It's true. And it's over there on the counter. You know what book I got in the mail today to read again because I gave my copy away was Flower Confidential,
Okay.
which is
Yeah.
by Amy Stewart.
Yep.
And while it's not really about growing flowers, you need to become the expert in your field. You need to be able to talk confidently to
Yep.
whether it's a florist or a fancy designer or at the farmer's market to somebody that just loves your zinnias every week.
Right.
I mean, it gives you talking points. It gives you a hook. It gives you what you really, really need. So I reread. I bet I've read Flower Confidential at least 2 times before. I have read The Flower Farmer probably 25 times.
Yeah.
So what we're just trying to say is the true value in these courses is that you can go in and watch at any time. If you have internet, you can log into your online
Mhm.
library and watch, or just listen, as Dave was talking about. So unlike our in the past, now when you purchase our courses, you immediately have access to the entire enchilada, right, Dave?
Right.
I
You buy
mean,
it today. You can binge watch it all night long if you want to, although I don't recommend that, but you could.
You know, it is so true. I can remember, I bet the sweetest comment I ever got about my course from one of my students back when each week they would get a portion of the course and then your
Right.
library gets bigger and bigger. Somebody commented or actually sent me a message or maybe in the Facebook group commented and said, okay, Monday mornings at 8 o'clock is when the course is dumped in for that week's class. Now what am I going to do for the other 6 days of the week as I binge watched it all day?
That's
I
right.
mean, but what we want you to know is you have total control of that, right?
Right. Yep.
And then, Dave, there's also because your course is really rich in this printable
Lots of
handouts.
handouts. Yes.
And I really recommend, and I talk about in the welcome, I think, of my course, is I recommend you go in and print everything else and
Get
make
them
a
ready.
3-ring binder so
Yep.
you can write notes. And I'm a note taker.
Yeah,
And
and the handouts are plant list, what perennials do or don't like to eat, that kind of stuff. Bloom sequence, different handouts that are really helpful for your planning your farm or your business.
right. And we have actually updated some in my course. And I'll tell you that the farm, you have to watch my Instagram live today that I posted because I was on a tangent, y'all, about my experience last night at a farm here locally. And another sweet moment for me is she said, oh my gosh, Lisa, I am living off. And she pulled out her phone, opened her phone, and on her phone open was my PDF on the harvest guide. She said, we are living off of this thing because I can just look at it. What stage do I
Right.
harvest? You know, what do you do? Any special handling? So the handouts are pretty priceless. And then, Dave, I know that you are aware of this. We have spent the last year, we have had one dedicated person on our team work almost full time hours every week for the last year time stamping not only our courses, all the sessions. And what this means is there's a search within the course or in the app, and you can put keywords in and bring up where that keyword is mentioned. That was the first step we did. And that was so powerful. We thought, do we dare search,
DNAs.
keyword search for the frequently asked questions? And that is what Anne has spent, I would say, the last 4 months
Right.
doing because there's probably 20 hours of frequently asked questions in mine and
Uh,
yours.
right.
So that what this all translates out to you guys, that means that you can buy the course today in the busy season where you don't have time to binge and you're having struggles with tulips or peonies or what you should be succession planting or what's the harvesting information on that annual, you can go in and search the courses and get down to what you need today.
Right.
And I think that is perhaps one of the most powerful uses of these tools is that we're trying to make these big indexes that you can find everything, right?
Right. Because I've always said that there's, I forget how many crops in my class, 29 or 30,
70,
70. Okay,
70.
70, 29 perennials, I think. Uh, Nobody's going to grow all of those. So sometimes you might even be going through the class and say, I never want to grow that. I don't like the flower. It doesn't grow well in my area. You just skip that section. But you can always go back to the ones that you do want to grow and search for it and find all the information on that. And it's not only the stuff that's in that day's class or that one session, it's in the Q&A sessions, the frequently asked questions. Like you said, it's 20 hours or 30 hours of video, basically.
A lot.
Lots of information.
There is, and we knew that we just needed to make it more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that for me, like if I know that tomorrow I'm going to be harvesting a new crop and we're growing 2 or 3 test things this year, and you need to like the night before, so you're not doing it in the heat of the moment, you can sit down and search within the course to find out when those crops are, what stage to harvest them. Oh
Right.
yeah, look at there. They definitely need hydrator or they don't, or they are pretty bulletproof. I can leave them till last. So we just want people to know that the course can be used. You don't have to like commit, oh my gosh, I'm going to spend the next week of my vacation binging.
Right.
That
Or
is a great thing to do,
Or it's
but
not like going to a class at the local community college or the ag center where you got to be there every Tuesday night at 7 to 9. You pick
right,
up the app, whether it's on your phone or the computer, and watch it when you have the time. that means 10 minutes or 3 hour drive that you're going on your way to the beach or
Exactly.
sitting on the beach if you're going to the beach.
It's true. And the one thing that so many people don't know, and I'm so glad to actually let people know about this, especially if you're already a student, is that you can speed up the videos.
Yes.
Now, I will tell you, you probably won't want to speed up Dave Dowling
I
because
talk fast.
while I do talk fast, he is the quickest speaker ever. And so I listen to most people at twice speed. You can still clearly understand it,
Right.
but it takes you half as long to watch it.
It's like speed reading. It works.
It definitely works. So that is another great time saver for when you're in the heat of the moment. And I also feel like I know when I do this on courses, when I do these, go in and look for what my challenge is of the day for whatever that is, um, it makes me want and be more focused on creating time in my schedule to watch the course because you realize how much information is in there that makes such a big difference, right?
But that's like I say, it'd be easy for some people to start binge watching and try and avoid that. All of a sudden, 3 hours later, you're watching the next video or watching the next session. So watch a lot of it, but don't try and do it all at once.
Yeah.
Get some sleep.
And we're broad. This is live in June, and June is the month that you either right now have too many flowers and you're having trouble selling them because you haven't really gotten that up and going, or you're realizing you don't have enough flowers. And in the meantime, the weeds are really ramping up because the heat and the rain are
Yeah,
here.
water and weed and pick and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dave and I both have done it. I mean, for, couple of decades.
Right. 20 years.
We totally understand it. But Dave, I don't know about you, but part of the tangent that I went on about this morning is I wish that somebody had twisted my arm all those years ago for me to realize that the growing is undoubtedly important, but there is other stuff that is as significant, that is important, that my business would have been profitable earlier and more profitable if I had paced myself better and made better use of resources.
Right. Yeah, it's not only growing the crop, it's planting, and the most important thing is selling, because if you don't sell it, you just have a garden.
I love that. I
Selling is
totally
just as
love
important.
that.
And we've always said, if you're not good at selling, you don't think you can go out there and either go to a farmer's market or approach florists, hire somebody to do it who can do it.
Or you need to investigate co-ops, which I personally believe is the future of the market for growers.
I haven't seen a co-op yet that hasn't been successful. They're all doing really well.
Yep. And so the other thing is that you can watch or listen on any device, computers, tablets, and cell phones. If your device has internet and you can type your login into it, you can actually do it. And I know for me, I mean, out there cutting flowers, sometimes it's just good to have an earbud in and be listening to something that just decompresses me. And learning does that for me, and re-listening. And so our courses do come with an app. So that means you can put it on your phone, has a lot of great features, and it just makes it super easy to use. So we've been addressing all these ways that you can make time to take the courses. And the reason we're saying that is we have put together mine and Dave's course for a special savings for this week only. So you save, when you buy both of our courses, you save $120. It is Flower Farm and School, the Basics, Annual Crops, Marketing, and More, which is mine. Dave's is, and I'm going to bring up a chart here in just a second that's going to actually show you and compare the courses. And Dave's course is Bulbs, Perennials, Woodies, and More. And there's, in my course, 54 video sessions, 34 bonus trainings, 40 handouts. It's searchable, as we've already discussed. Plus, mine has a bonus resource tool that's called the Cool Flowers Field Growers Report. That is like a living, moving database that people have been entering in, like what zone they are, failure, what crop, what did they do, to help figure out what is winter hardy where you are. You can enter your information and it instantly is updated. It is like a powerful, amazing tool. Dave's course as I already mentioned, he covers over 70 different flower crops. He has 86 videos. The searchable features 5 bonus webinars and 24 print handouts. So both of our classes individually are $595. So together they would normally be $1,190. But this week only, they're $1,070. You save $120. And if you are if you're already a member of the TGW family, but you don't happen to have both of our courses, that means you get an additional discount once you've taken any of our other classes. And that means that your course is 2 courses are only $995. That's $195 off. You know, we love when people join our family. And that's what that does. And that expires Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And now, y'all, I'm going to share my screen and, present. Sorry, y'all. I had to
figure it out.
Share screen. Yeah, I got to think about what I'm doing. So I'm going to compare. I'm going to show you both. So here it is. So my course is in the green, Dave's is in the red, and it kind of shows you all the fact. So my course is how to start a farm and run one, building and managing a working garden, how to sell what you grow, lots of different options for you to explore, what annual flowers to grow, and starting seeds, and then harvesting and conditioning. And so Dave's course doesn't really cover any of that stuff, right? So in Dave's course, you read off yours, Dave. Can you read it?
I got my glasses on. I'm going to read that little print. Mine does the foundational bulb crops like the tulips and lilies and things like that. Then the bulbs you would grow in tunnels or greenhouses. And then I've got listed my priority perennial crops, which I think 10 or 12 crops of peonies that I say, start at the top, and always the top of my list of perennials is peonies. Start at the top and work your way down until you get all those varieties planted and on your farm. Then specialty perennial crops, this one's a little bit different. Maybe not the top 12, but other ones you can grow. And then the woody crops, the hydrangeas, lilac, things like that. And then I also talk about farm structures, shade structures, hoop houses, greenhouses, just to kind of scratch the surface to see if you're interested in those. And if you do want to grow in high tunnels and greenhouses, there's a whole nother Gardener's Workshop class with Steve and Gretel Adams that covers greenhouse and high tunnel production in much greater detail.
Right. And so when you kind of get both of these courses, it's kind of like the foundation of getting your business up and running. And the other thing that, I'm always about the numbers. Season, the specials is always, that's the reason that we're kind of want to be sure that everybody knows about this opportunity. We actually understand that not everybody is going to be able to stop and embrace the whole course, but that's not the way it is. And we all think, oh man, I'm buying it right now. How am I going to take this class now? Well, you don't really have to, right? So let me see how I can get us back to where we were. So there is the comparison. So you see that we kind of cover everything you need. And then Dave, tell them about our closed community groups.
Facebook group, yeah. For each of our students, mine for all my perennials and bulb students, and Lisa for annuals and business class students, there's a private Facebook group. You have to be a member to join it. Obviously, you have to take the class first. It's from all of our past students. I don't know how many, I've got hundreds of them, are in that group. And in that group, you can go in and post pictures and information of problems you have. If you have a plant that just doesn't look right, it's not growing right, or if you've got something that's really good and you want to brag about it and share it with everybody else, say, hey, look how great this variety of sunflower did. You should try and grow it. It's a great collaborative effort of all these students who are in there sharing success stories and also helping with any problems they have. And then Lisa and I both drop into those Facebook groups occasionally to answer questions. If you want an answer specifically from one of us, you can tag us on it, and then we usually get the notification when you go and find that one and answer the question. But it's in Facebook. It's a closed group, so nobody can be in it other than our students. And if you're not already on Facebook, you can start a Facebook account and never use it for anything else. So you don't have to get in all the other stuff that's on Facebook. Or if you already have a Facebook account, Sometimes we recommend to get a second account with your business email address, because you should always have a separate email address for your business, and have a separate account just for your business, and you join the page with that. As long as the email address matches what the Gardener's Workshop has on your account, they'll let you in the group.
So we have a question from Roebuck Mountain Farm. Is the course bilingual for Spanish speakers? It is not bilingual. And so, yeah, we've kind of investigated that, and it's kind of beyond what we can do at this point in time.
I don't speak any other language, and I don't know if you do either, Lisa. And I don't know if there's
Yeah.
a good program that would translate it efficiently and understandably.
Yeah. So what we really wanted to share with people is that we totally understand none of us have time. That's your first test as a business owner. I often say is getting your P's in a row to be able to do your business, and education and expanding your knowledge. I mean, that really should have first seat, right? I mean,
Right.
I've often used in the past the analogy of, so it's so easy. I think with Dave and you and I have talked about this, how easy it is to just kind of get into flower farming because you can just grow flowers in your backyard, right?
Very easy.
All of a sudden you find out you're in over your head. So it would be like, if you want to compare it and really realize why perhaps you're struggling, it would be like me waking up tomorrow morning and saying, you know what? Today, I'm going to open a copy machine store. I think I'll go lease a space and pick up some copiers and put them in the building. I mean, when you really think about it's amazing how well so many of us have done.
Right.
But it is so easy to get in, and especially if you get successful, you get so overwhelmed so quick. So these courses are really about helping you manage your time, helping you learn what you need to learn, to sift out the stuff you don't perhaps need to learn. Because Dave, I don't know about you, but I'm looking at social media all the time and I'm thinking, why in the world are you even doing that? Somebody will be talking about how overwhelmed they are and they're doing X, Y, and Z. And I'm thinking, X, Y, no way.
Stop. Don't need to do Z. Just X and Y is enough. Right.
I mean, it's just, and I was just something that when I was a master gardener, I thought I knew it all coming into this. And what I learned is it's a whole different ballpark.
Yeah. And like our classes are applicable to somebody who just wants to have a really good, nice garden in the backyard and not even sell flowers.
Right.
But if you're going to be making a business and, hopefully be profitable and sell flowers as your livelihood, taking these classes really helps you get that step forward to do that sooner.
It's true. And, you saying that. So last night, what got me all fired up, I went to visit this flower farmer because I needed actually these billy balls right here. I needed them for the book, and ours got totally destroyed by the deer. And so she's one of my students, and she's only like 3 or 4 miles from me here, went to her farm, and, I'm visiting with her and her husband, and this is their second season. They really dabbled last year. Dave, I cannot tell you how awesome. I was so impressed.
Yeah.
I was so impressed. And I stood back and I said, y'all don't understand. I was like in year 10 by the time I got to this process. And they both looked at me and said, well, it's because of your resources that we are here in year 2.
Right. I'm amazed sometimes they're customers of mine now, or others, or they're students, of how big and how successful they've gotten in 2 or 3 years.
And they didn't have to go down the speed bumps like we did.
Right.
And, so that really struck me last night. I had kind of forgotten. It's like, it's only because we have all these resources, your course and your books to go to like, this is exactly what we do. This is the variety we should grow or whatever. And it just, it kind of, once you do this for a while, and you can know this too, that you kind of forget how hard it was to get started, to sell, to grow good stuff. And, I told them, well, I said in the Instagram, and I'm sure that they've watched it, that, when I was standing there, I'm looking around in my mind saying, yep, I can remember going through that phase. Yep, I did that over there too, but I wouldn't be doing that today. I didn't say any of that. It's part of your journey of some things you just have to do.
Right.
and figure out for yourself. And
Plus,
anyway,
I would say everybody's flower farm journey is different of how big you want to get, how many employees or no employees, family working, where you're
right,
selling. Everything is different. And until you try each way, you don't know if that's what you want to do.
exactly.
Every flower farmer I know has gone from doing farmers markets. Maybe they do weddings a couple of years. Maybe all they do now is weddings, where they sell with a stand at the end of the driveway. It just evolves until you find the sweet spot that works really well for you.
And fits your lifestyle and
It's the
fits your
lifestyle, right?
family. And
Yep.
then, like Dave just implied, it evolves. I mean, as
Oh,
like this Tori that I was at her farm last night, she has 4 little kids.
wow.
So she's got a space. She has a way she has to, the time is limited.
Yeah.
But as her children grow, that will evolve and become something else.
Yeah.
So I hope what we're trying to communicate here is that these courses are made to work on your timeline. You have unlimited lifetime accessibility. That means unlimited. You can watch the same video 100 times.
Hmm.
I'm telling you, people have done it.
Yeah.
And if long as there is internet, you can log into your library and all your courses will be sitting right there, assuming you bought them all under the same email.
Right.
Surprising how many of us have more
People
than
change.
one. I'm one of them.
Right. Well, one thing I also want to point out is that if you buy this class and you're running it at your farm as a business, it's a business expense. So you
Yes.
deduct that full amount as a business expense. No different. It's the price you paid for seeds, the price you paid for a tractor.
Yep.
This class is a business expense, and it's in your taxes as an expense. But always
Yes.
check with your accountant beforehand. But it is a business expense.
Yes.
And also, we have the 7-day money back guarantee. If you get the class and find out this isn't what I thought it was going to be, I want my money back, no questions asked. But nobody ever does that, right, Lisa?
No, not really. I mean,
Probably a handful
right.
at the most.
I mean, it's hardships is what usually somebody would have a hardship or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
but we understand. We're the LL Bean of the course world, and we want it that way. We totally understand, and it's $595 a course. Even though it's brought down to the low 500s with this special offer we're offering, where you get both the courses for $1,070, that's still a lot of money. I know that takes time, but here's what Dave and I say about that. That is a drop in the bucket to what you're going to not only recoup, but the problems you're going to avoid and the expenses. Dave, let's finish this off because I know you have another appointment.
Right.
The tulip story about somebody buying a ton of tulips that were not the tulips.
They were looking at a catalog or maybe online, and they bought a bunch of tulips that had beautiful pictures, but they didn't check the height. And they bought a bunch of tulips that are listed as 10 inches tall or 12 inches tall, which aren't going to fit in a vase. They're not going to fit in a bucket. They were landscape tulips or even potted tulips, like on the spring potted tulips at the grocery store. It's mistakes like that people make. That if you take our classes, you shouldn't be making those mistakes, because we'll tell you the mistakes not to make.
Right. Yeah. Because we've made most of them. And that's perhaps, for sure. So anyway, that's what we wanted to come on here and share, is that time should not be a problem. You can apply your schedule to these courses. You have them as reference tools from here on out, and they're searchable. And so the link is in the comments, or you can find it at thegardenersworkshop.com. And we would love to have you in school, in flower farming school, and to help more people. We've helped thousands of students find their way. And tomorrow night, I'll be on Instagram with Daniel of Petal Pickers, who has an amazingly successful business. Daniel was one of our first students, and he's amazing. You've been there, haven't you, Dave?
I haven't been there yet. No, I need to at some point. Yes.
Yeah, so Daniel and I will be on Instagram tomorrow night, and please join us at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and let's hear from a student. Please also watch my Instagram video that was posted this morning. I did a live talking about the success of Tori and her husband, Steve Anderson, on the flower farm at Young's Mill, and they're just getting down in the dirt and doing it. And I'm inspired. I was so inspired last night, and Daniel will get me all revved up again.
I always like to brag about I hate to feel old and say our kids, but our students that are successful.
Oh my goodness. And you know who else I think? And there's a ton of them. And you
Oh,
know,
lots of them.
I would love to have a list submitted by students of people that wanted us to mention their name. But you know who else I've interviewed is Nicole of Flower
Yes,
Farm Hill.
amazing. Yep,
And she's done amazing. And now she has a nursery. And Jonalyn and Clay
down in
down at
Florida. Yep,
um, Blossom Lane Farm in Florida.
right,
And so here is a comment from one of our students. You'll save yourself hours of frustration and feelings of failure by taking these two courses. Learn from the best. Thank you, whoever you are. And you know what? I'm glad you said that, because if nothing else, the confidence you feel from having these courses in your back pocket will pump your, just like I got pumped last night. That's what these courses will
right.
do for you.
Yeah,
So, friends, we're going to let Dave get on to his
yeah, I gotta
next
go.
work here. And so, meet me tomorrow night. And we hope to see you in school, because we'd love to share this special offer that's only available till Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Until we meet again, friends, I'm going out to mow my pathways.
I'm hitting the road to
Dave's
heading toward
on the road.
the ASCFG meeting tomorrow.
All right, friends, till we meet you again. Ciao.
Bye bye, everybody.